Welcome to Balance Due. This is our final thoughts on control. Now, everybody needs ability to manage control in a variety of different facets. If we can't control our emotions, it can eventually lead to our destruction. It starts with the mind, then the body follows. Now, without control, we can't function in most environments. And most importantly, without control, you can severely damage your health. Good health is the number one element you must control. With that, your achievements are limitless, but without it, you're living on the precipice. Now, in furtherance, when it comes to the obvious pleasures, you must be skilled in your ability to control your urges, whether it's eating, drinking, drugs, smoking, sex. It can all lead to ruination. That's why we need balance. Too much of almost anything, good or bad by societal terms, can lead to destruction. That's why it's imperative that we understand the art of managing control. There was this guy in his early 40s, very ambitious, focused on his career and family. He was like a lot of us out there, family man, directed all his energy in the ascension of his career. He made millions. He controlled his family, made sure the wife and children stayed happy. He made sure his children stayed out of trouble, had everything they needed to become productive citizens in the world. He also did whatever was necessary to climb the corporate ladder. He spent countless hours at work, dealt with some nonsensical stress that comes with the status of his position. He acquired all of that for the sake of his family. Unfortunately, it turns out he had a very untimely death due to health problems. He didn't eat properly, didn't exercise, couldn't control his own urges as it related to food, sweets, and other extracurricular activities. But aside from that, he left his wife and kids in a great financial situation. Now, shortly after his death, his wife ended up getting remarried, and her new husband and kids are doing very well. Now, in retrospect, it's a shame the guy's no longer around to enjoy the fruits of his hard labor as it relates to his family. I guess that will be left up to the new husband. What we can conclude from this story, he was able to control everybody but himself, and consequently it resulted in an early demise. From the time we are young into the time we age, we inherently have a passion for control, according to the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. When the elderly lose their ability to control, they are more inclined to become unhappy, helpless, hopeless, and depressed. There was a study by this research group. They used volunteers to pay regular visits to nursing home residents. People in the high control group, and that's the residents with controlling personalities, they were allowed to control the day and time of the student's visit. And these were volunteers. The people in the low control group, the residents with less controlling personalities, were not able to control the day and time. They would just receive visits from the volunteers whenever they showed up, no set time. Now, after 2 months, residents in the high control group were happier, healthier, more active, and taking fewer medications than those in the low control group. At this point, the researchers concluded their study and discontinued the student visits. Now, several months later, the research team was rather dismayed to learn that a disproportionate number of residents who had been in the high control group had died. Now, what can we surmise from that tragedy? The residents who had been given control had benefited from the control while they had it. However, when the study ended and the control was no longer there, it had greatly contributed to their demise. What can we conclude from that study? Having control, then losing it, can be worse than never having it at all. And it can be difficult to define control, considering the fact that control is all around us. Sometimes we ask ourselves, how do we thrive and still find our own identity, our own talents in this culture of control, with so much information, influence, and expectations around us? Well, research states it's easy as ever to have an illusion of reality, especially when we have two different realities we face every day, our perceived reality and virtual reality. In a time where everyone is vying for our attention and critical of our actions, whether it's to push an agenda, sell us something, sell our data, compromise our privacy. In other words, people control others usually for their own self-interest, even if it doesn't appear that way. Then you have some that use fear as a means of control in order to quell their own insecurities. Whatever the case may be, I know one thing for sure. There will come a time when we all will lose control. Thank you for supporting Balance Due. We are a veteran-owned, tax-exempt organization. All proceeds from donations go toward furthering our message of inspiration, positivity, and unique ideas, all geared towards strengthening the community. We need your continued support, whether it's listening to our podcast, reviewing it, sharing it, volunteering, or donating. For more information on upcoming events and programs, please visit our website at balancedue.org. Let's take this journey together, folks. Hope to see you soon. Peace.